The deadly Russian onslaught in Ukraine appears to be intensifying this Wednesday, targeting the country's largest cities.
As Russian commanders intensified their bombardment of Ukrainian urban areas, Russian forces attacked a television tower in Kiev.
Satellite images appear to show a 60-kilometer convoy of military vehicles approaching from the north of the city.
The Russian Defense Ministry warned residents in Kiev to leave their homes, saying that Russia would also strike sites belonging to Ukraine's security service.
In today's video, we will get updates about Russia and Ukraine. So, please like and subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Fighting remains intense in central Ukraine as Russian forces continue to bombard Kyiv in an attempt to take the capital. But their miles-long convoy north of the city still does not appear to be moving, U.S. officials say. In the southern port city of Kherson, Russian troops control much of the city, including key facilities such as broadcast towers. Russian troops seized the biggest nuclear power plant in Europe after an attack that set it on fire. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Russia of nuclear terror after the attack on Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. President Vladimir Putin said Russia was ready for dialogue over Ukraine if all its demands are met, the Kremlin said Friday. Putin also denied Russia bombing Ukrainian cities and dismissed such information as gross propaganda. Meanwhile, the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine has called Russia's attack on a nuclear plant a war crime. It is a war crime to attack a nuclear power plant, the embassy statement said. Putin's shelling of Europe's largest nuclear plant takes his reign of terror one step further. Russian troops seized the plant on Friday in an attack that set it on fire and briefly raised fears of a nuclear disaster. The blaze was extinguished and no radiation was released. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called Russia's action nuclear terrorism, and appealed to the UN Security Council for action to safeguard Ukraine's endangered nuclear facilities. Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal appealed to the International Atomic Energy Agency and the EU to send representatives to all 5 of Ukraine's nuclear power plants. "This is a question of the security of the whole world," he said in a nighttime video address. Meanwhile, fighting intensified in southern Ukraine as Kherson became the first city to fall into Russian hands as shelling continued in Mariupol, Chernihiv and Kharkiv. Heavy fighting is continuing on the outskirts of a strategic port city on the Azov Sea, Mariupol. The Russian military says it controls Kherson, and local Ukrainian officials have confirmed Russian forces have taken over local government headquarters in the Black Sea port of 2.8 lakh people. The situation in Ukraine continued to remain grim as Russia stepped up its attacks. On Friday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky blasted NATO as weak for refusing to impose a no-fly zone. On the other hand, a new law in Russia threatens up to 15 years in prison for anyone deemed to spread false information about the country's military and its activity. Other penalties target calls for sanctions against Russia and calls for not deploying Russia's armed forces. Russian authorities blocked access to Facebook, and Twitter is down for many users. Officials also continue to shutter critical media outlets, now including the BBC's Russian service, independent Meduza and US-funded Radio Liberty. More companies quit Russia. Google stopped selling online advertising in Russia across all services, including search and YouTube. Airbnb suspended operations in Russia and Belarus. Microsoft, Panasonic and Hermes joined the growing list of companies suspending sales in Russia. The most recent update: Russia declares temporary ceasefire in 2 Ukrainian cities for civilians to leave. Russia has declared a temporary ceasefire in the Ukrainian cities of Mariupol and Volnovakha to allow civilians to leave the war zone on day 10 of the invasion as Moscow escalated military aggression. Thanks for watching the video and press the bell icon to get new video updates.